All right, guys, we are live and we are about to cover Tournament Group A. This should be a really good game. These players in this particular round, some of the top seeds of the tournament. One in particular, AV, has won every single game he's played in so far. So this figures to be an excellent game. So sit back, relax, and we're gonna enjoy a really good side game. Sending out the Discord blast right now. And this right here at the bottom of the bidding app here is the room that we're going to be watching. Fubar 30, I believe, is Avi. Has some trouble using the app sometimes, so he uses a name that's a little bit different from his digital edition name and his Discord name. So we are just waiting on, let's see, Albion Wolf join the game. So it should be any time now. We'll give time for a few people to log on, watch the game. That'll be good. Hope you guys are doing well today. I don't know what it's like where you are, but it is a rainy early afternoon where I am, the east side of the United States. It's been raining for a while. And here we go. First thing that catches your eye is Crimea Militant SS combo. Let's grab our tier list here. We have Crimea Militant that's at the top right there, which is rated SS. Saxony Innovative is the next one down at S tier on your far right. Tagawa Engineering is rated down there as a C tier, which is perhaps even generous for Tagawa. And Polani Industrial is rated B, but it's a very good B tier combination. So we would expect to see Crimea Militant go for maybe in the low to mid 20s. Saxony Innovative could rank in the low teens, low to mid teens. Tagawa Engineering is probably our zero bid of the day. I'm interested to see how much Polania goes for in this particular round. You see the players aren't wasting any time, and the opening bid on Crimea Militant was 10 with Feast for Crows speeding up the bidding for us. With Crimea Militant at 13, a couple bids start to come in for Saxony Innovative here. Looks like at least a few of the players see those two combinations as separating themselves by about, well, the difference is 15 right now. One of the things that is interesting is Crimea Militant is an incredibly fast high coin combo. But it gets its first mech out a little bit slowly, and Saxony Innovative is completely fast. It's incredibly speedy. So Crimea Militant could see an early invasion by Saxony, and there's a good chance Saxony can block Crimea's oil tunnel, or Crimea has a chance to get out of the base. So these players need to consider that Crimea Militant can be affected by the fact that Saxony Innovative is in the game. Interesting that Polani Industrial comes in with Saxony Innovative only at 4 and now 5. That's not a whole lot of separation between those two. But we would expect all of these combinations to get a little bit higher before anyone's willing to take Tagawa Engineering. Polani Industrial is going first in this game, which means Saxony Innovative is going last. And that may be playing a little bit into the players' consideration here as they bid on these. Crimea Militant up to 27 now, which is a high bid, even for a combination as good as Crimea Militant is. Something like Polani Industrial that gets early spread on the board or Tagawa Engineering that builds a quick engine and gets a lot of coin, or Saxony Innovative with a lot of spread could really make it difficult for Crimea Militant to cover that bid, especially if Saxony succeeds in spreading around the board and blocking Crimea's tunnel early in the game. Those are some things to consider. So right now we're waiting on Avi, whose bidding name is Fubar30, to place his bid. Mentioned a little bit earlier, Avi is the only player so far in the tournament to have won 3 different games. So he's sitting at a total of 18 points. Almost all but certain he's advancing to the next round. Maybe not guaranteed, but a few more decent performances by him would probably ensure it. That Crimea Militant bid is looking a little bit nicer now that we have Polania Industrial up to 6 and Saxony Innovative up to 11. Polania Industrial is somewhat encounter dependent. We saw a game very recently where Polania Industrial in Axel Prototype's hands managed to end the game in 13 turns with 1 encounter. Managed to get a building off the first encounter, and the rest of it was just an engine. Exploited the fact that there was a low power Nordic Militant in the game and was able to get the combats throwing very little. But one of the phenomenons we see in tournaments is the players watch each other, and how a particular player does with a combination has an effect on how the combination gets valued in the subsequent games in the tournament. And I think we're seeing that a little bit now with Polania Industrial, which is rated B tier, to Saxony Innovative's S tier, but there's not that much separation between the two. Crimea Militant, one would think, would be in the driver's seat here, but Saxony Innovative and Polania Industrial have the ability to get out on the board and really occupy enough territory, lock down the center of the board, and make it difficult for Crimea to make this bid. Although Saxony Innovative now only 13 better than Crimea Militant, and having to beat Tagawa Engineering by 16. I think we're starting to reach the point that somebody's going to take Tagawa Engineering, although Polania probably has to get a little bit higher. I think the 29 separation and the now 20 separation from Saxony Innovative puts Tagawa in a good place. I'm still not sure I like the separation between Tagawa Engineering and Polania Industrial. Part of the difficulty is Tagawa Engineering is going to be the most efficient going mechless, but with Saxony Innovative in the game, you're probably going to get stepped on, and you're going to get stepped on early. Mountain Goat Kid, I need me some more Axel Albion in my life. Kaz says Tagawa Engineering can stall well if Saxony and Polania don't wreck them. And I think that's right. I think that's what you have to worry about as Tagawa Engineering. You don't really want to build a mech, costs you 4 metal, gives you no coins. You probably don't want to go for that mech star. But if you don't get mechs out, there's a good chance you just get wrecked. That Polania Industrial and Saxony Innovative don't care about popularity, use you to get their combats. You don't start on wood as Tagawa. It takes you a little bit of time to start building buildings, and your bolster with that engineering mat is going to be over your build. So it might take you a little bit of time to accrue enough power to really deter somebody from coming after you. And maybe the traps are enough to do that, and maybe they're not. Crimea Militant up to 30 now, which I could be wrong, but I think is the highest bid we've seen in the tournament so far. Crimea Militant widely viewed as one of the best combinations of the game, second arguably only to Rusviet Innovative, which is just, to my knowledge, shown up once in the tournament and did not go nearly that high. Bidding slowed down a little bit. This is the point in time where I think the players are seriously considering Tagawa Engineering. Kaz said, I don't see how you ever cover this Sax bid. Then again, VMer managed to get a coin pile last time I played him there. 31 for Crimean Militant by Feast for Crows. I mean, you would think that Crimean Militant has to be looking at a tier 2 game to cover this bid. Maybe not. But here we go. Here it is. We thought it was about to end, and it did. So let's get these bids on the screen here. Bids are now on the screen, and I have Feast for Crows here and Avi on the buddy list here, prepared to spectate one of them. So we just need to wait now till they set up the game. Let's talk a minute about these bids. Oh, hey, DK Mazu, what's going on? Okay, so here's what is happening. We just had a bidding session where 4 different combinations were selected at random. Polania Industrial, Tagawa Engineering, Saxony Innovative, and Crimea Militant. And the players had the opportunity to bid on these combinations. So essentially, they are saying, I agree to have this amount of money subtracted from my in-game score, and I'm planning on still winning. So you see Crimea Militant at 31 is going to lose 31 points at the end of the game and still has to try to win. Saxony Innovative is going to have 22 points subtracted and still try to win. Tagawa Engineering is going to lose nothing, and Polania Industrial is going to lose 15. Yeah, Mountain Goat, we were talking about that a little bit earlier. Thanks for the follow, Day Killer. Really appreciate it. We were talking about it a little earlier that Polania Industrial goes first and Saxony Innovative goes last. So that is going to have an impact on the game. But the bids don't really seem to reflect the turn order heavily, in my opinion. Crimea Militant going as high as any combination has gone so far in this entire tournament. So now we're just waiting to be able to spectate somebody. Thanks. Yeah, we got a nice little viewer base going here. So I'm glad that people are tuning in to watch. Hopefully it's going to be a great game. I mentioned earlier near the beginning of the broadcast that this right now is one of the highest caliber games in the tournament, as these players have done very well to this point in the tournament. Avi, one of the players in this tournament, who is on Saxony Innovative, has in fact won his first 3 games. Hey, Wildbagger, thanks for tuning in. Appreciate you watching. So this tournament is Swiss style, which means throughout the preliminary rounds, the highest rated players get paired against the highest rated players, and the ratings based on performance in the tournament so far. So I don't know the number of points that each has accrued, but as I mentioned, Saxony here has won all 3 games. So you would imagine the other players are not far behind. So we should be in for a great game here. Polania electing to trade for 2 metal first. Of course, the industrial mat with Polania requires 3 metal for that first mech, so Polania looking to get a mech out early. Tagawa with an early move action. And let's see what Crimea does, because how they choose to play this game early has a lot to do with whether they are going to go for a tier 1 or a tier 2 strategy to try to cover that massive bid. No surprise, Saxony trades for 2 metals, setting themselves up for a produce deploy next turn. We could see a move here out of Polania, or potentially a produce. We do see it produce. This is a pretty standard strategy with Polania Industrial. You go for a trade for metal early, and then a produce. The next turn I would expect to see a trade for 1 wood and 1 metal, and then a produce into a deploy. Kaz says the points are 18, 12, 12, and 10. So good performances this far by everyone in this game. So Crimea grabbing this first enlist early, probably going for the combat card enlist, and probably grabbing combat cards. Might be tempted to go for the power enlist, with Tagawa looking like they're going for upgrades early. But taking the standard route and grabbing the combat card enlist, and no doubt combat cards. Hey how's it going here? We are covering a tournament game. I'm not playing in this game, I'm just spectating, and we're chatting about and talking about the game here. One of the best games in the tournament this round, we would expect out of these players. But let's see if I'm right. Let's see if we have a trade for wood here and a trade for metal. Sure enough, we do. This undoubtedly means Polania is going to produce next turn, drop a speed mech, move 1 or 2 workers here, move their character here, and the third wood is going to give them the chance to build a mine. It's an efficient opening with Polania, I'm not going to lie, but I don't like it a lot with Saxony Innovative in the game. This third option for Tagawa is one of the best options in the game because you can essentially grab 2 bottom row actions here. And he's going to take it. Could upgrade the enlist right now and immediately enlist and grab either the deploy enlist or potentially the combat card enlist, the power enlist. But I think the deploy enlist is probably the way to go. Don't have any mechs out from your neighbors, and even if you don't build mechs, you could see 8 coins from that. Let's see if Tagawa remembers to place the trap token here. It's easy to forget that trap token after grabbing an encounter. Getting on this space with no trap would be Saxony's best friend, but there is a trap token. Tagawa not forgetting to place that and going with the coin in the deploy enlist. Crimea Militant with their second produce, setting themselves up for another enlist next turn. And Saxony, I would expect a move to this encounter now that the speed mech is out. So why do I not like the mine speed mech opening in this game for Polania? Because presumably you would go to this encounter right here first. But Saxony is fast enough with this board. Tagawa upgraded enlist, Kaz. How he was able to enlist with only 2 food. If Saxony bumps your character off this space, you can kiss your factory card goodbye. Because you have to move here, presumably, because you have no submerged mech to travel across the water unless you get one off the encounter. And then it takes another turn and then another move. Saxony putting this mech here on the mountain space is positioning themselves to get their mechs and their attack units out quickly. Boy, that $4 to deploy a mech speeds up the game, but it's expensive. Number 3 may be the best option here, and that's what he takes. That's a great option with Saxony Innovative. Saxony Innovative has a real power problem, and to be able to grab combat cards like that early and to get essentially an entire upgraded bolster action off the encounter while you're at it is absolutely huge. So here comes what we would assume is a speed mech. Sure enough, see Polania grab their first encounter next turn, and what comes out of that encounter is going to have a large impact on how their game goes. Oh, what did Tagawa upgrade top row? They upgraded their move. Solid choice. And now going with their second upgrade here. Buildings would be a solid choice. The upgrade would be a solid choice. Going to go with the upgrade. So Crimea here can trade a metal and a food, which is what they're going to do, and use a combat card for the third food and enlist probably the coin enlist. I'm wrong. They're going to go with the power enlist, which makes some sense with Tagawa showing that they're interested in doing multiple upgrades and Militant being a low-powered board that doesn't really want to bolster. Saxony setting themselves up for a produce into a second mech. Next turn, going to be in great position to attack Polania if they come down to this encounter after building a mine. Polania deciding to wait on the encounter and to go ahead and grab an enlist off a trade. Don't hate that move. You grab it before Saxony has 3 more mechs to get out. You can't be sure Tagawa is going to build mechs, but hopefully for Polania, Tagawa does build some mechs. Tagawa splitting out those workers, going for a 3-worker strat, and dropping their character on the wood space. Looks like Tagawa wants to build buildings, maybe get an early mill on that upgrade spot, but also wants to protect this wood spot so Saxony or Polania doesn't or even Crimea doesn't opportunistically run in, bump the worker, ruin Tagawa's engine, and steal the wood. Saxony grabbing the underpass mech, no surprise there. They now have the ability and the mobility to move about the board. But we're probably going to see a move here from Polania. So 2 things to look for. What do they get on the encounter, of course? And do they move both workers to the village, or do they leave one of them behind either on wood or on the farm? And it looks like they're going to leave one behind on wood, which indicates Polania is thinking about build strategy in this game. The Polania has 2 popularity, so they can take 1 and 3, or 2 and 3, or 1 and 2. So all the combinations are available to them essentially. This is a great encounter for them. If you're willing to give up tier 2, you can grab a lot of resources here. And I say give up tier 2, with the right factory card, tier 2 would still be in reach, but it is difficult to put yourself at 0 popularity after your first encounter and then later make it to 7. You cannot count on it, at least. And I think that's what Polania is thinking right now, is do they play the tier 2 game? It's a hard call, but it's very difficult to pass up on 5 resources. How's it going, man? Good to see you. The fact that it's taking Polania this long to make a decision suggests to me that they're going with number 3, and that's what they do. Probably thinking, what resources are they going to take? Could take some wood, take some metal. Food is an option. This is going to say a lot about Polania's strategy throughout this game. All right, this is a solid choice. We're going to see a building built right now. The next produce will give another wood for a second building and a second mech. So I like it. I like the resource distribution that Polani picked in this game. 3 metal, 2 food day. I think Polani is going for buildings rather than enlists. It looks that way at least. So that's probably why they took the route they took. Yeah, buildings Polani again. We saw a game, I think it was yesterday, where Polani Industrial just dominated the game in 13 turns. Didn't need the bids to win. Wow, Bagger, you think Tagawa should block Crimea Oil to slow down the game? Tagawa cannot move this turn, but that would be a solid choice for Tagawa. If Tagawa blocks that oil tunnel, that makes it very hard for Crimea to make their bid. Question you have to ask is how much that really helps Tagawa. But Tagawa because Tagawa needs to establish an engine and start making coin as fast as they can. Let's look at the building bonus here. Neighbor to lakes. That particular building bonus is not really Tagawa's friend. And we see a mill. I like that. The next produce is going to give Polania a submerge mech, so they can abandon the mine plan and go straight for the factory across this lake. And I think that's a good call out of them. So the next 2 produces out of Polania is going to give enough wood for the next 2 buildings. So I like that mill. I like it on that wood space. And I like that Polania is employing the flexibility to abandon this encounter in favor of going straight for the factory. I don't think Saxony's excited about that. So Tagawa setting themselves up for a upgrade next turn, and then a build after that. For me, it's gotta be... No, they're sitting at 3 cards. They're in good shape on cards. They just picked up their 3rd enlist, and they've got enough metal to get a mech out now. The way Crimea has done their strategy, though, now they have to move, and it's not clear how they're going to move. They could move the character 1 space, which doesn't do a whole lot for them. They could move a worker to metal. They move 2 workers to metal before they place their mech. Then what are they going to do the next turn? Are they going to produce for only 2 resources? That's not particularly clear. So here's where Saxony can decide whether they want to come out of the base, and they do. This is a powerful space for Saxony because with Underpass it essentially functions like a tunnel as long as they control it, and it's directly next to the factory. So it also blocks Tagawa, who admittedly doesn't seem that interested in the factory at this point, from reaching there. It also positions Saxony, if they want, to attack Polania on the factory when Polania goes there. Polania is sitting only at 2 power and 3 combat cards to Saxony's 4 and 6 respectively. Now Polania's got an interesting choice here. They do not have an upgraded move. They can only bring 2 units to the factory. So what are they going to do with this next move? I'm looking forward to finding out. Check in on the score. Polania winning. Only ahead by 3 on Tagawa though, so Tagawa ahead so far off of the bid. Tagawa now with an opportunity to block that tunnel they so desire, but I think we're going to see another produce coming. They've got time. Got time to block the tunnel here. Mia's still a little bit away from moving out of the base, and that's what we see. As we thought, They upgraded the building. Now they're sitting on 2 wood. And they can choose to build a mill next turn and either put it on oil to make their upgrades easier, or put it on wood to make sure that they're getting enough wood each produced that they can continue to build buildings. The building bonus is lakes. Only 2 lakes in Togawa's immediate vicinity, making the maximum building bonus that they are most likely getting in this game to be 4. They can get it higher if they move around the board, but without a speed mech, that can be difficult to do with Togawa. So this is a key turn for Polania. Polania's got to figure out, and you'd think they're moving to the factory, but are they moving a second mech? If they don't move 2 mechs, they make themselves a target for Saxony, who can move next turn. But if they do move 2 mechs and then use the factory card, bringing the character off the factory the next turn, we're going to see a straggler mech sitting here by itself that Saxony can then attack. So Polania's got to think this through. Probably going to see a building built right here. Polania also could choose to move out to this lake, which it looks like they're going to do. Pretty key. Togawa doesn't like to see that because Polania can now invade this spot. This might influence Togawa's choice of where to put their mill, and they might want to put their mill there. So there aren't resources that are then produced and laying there. 2 oil is produced and immediately spent on an upgrade if there's a mill there. But yeah, looking forward to see what Polania picks with this factory card and what Togawa picks for their building. Five factory cards in this game, with 4 players, Polania having a lot of choices. Saxony has a great opportunity to attack Polania this next turn. Polania with Submerge can reach a whole host of encounters even from their home base with the factory card here, 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 here. So Polania, once they get this factory card, doesn't care that much about getting sent back. So if you're Saxony and you attack, even with just 1 unit, there's a really good chance you could bluff your way to an easy combat star. Polania, of course, calling your bluff if you move the character would be devastating, as it would take Saxony out of contention for a factory card for at least 1, 2 more moves and 3 more, which represents 3 or 4 more turns. Check the score again. Polania almost covering their bid now, but that relative lead is fragile, seeing as they're on the factory and unlikely to hold it for any period of time. Saxony has set themselves up to produce to 4 workers and drop a 3rd mech probably on this spot. See if they stick with that plan or attack the factory. Might just be worth throwing 7 for Sax. Yeah, if you attack with both units. Thing is, you don't really want to move this worker. And if you, always a possibility that, although Polania is really the only one in position to bump that worker. And they're probably not that interested in slowing down your game. So looking at the score, Crimea is still sitting at -10. Saxony hurting right now at -13. Togawa at 20 and Polania at 18. Oh, I'm sorry. Polania bid. I've been treating Polania like they bid 10. Polania bid 15. Togawa's got a pretty commanding lead at this point. With all these bids, you'd think someone's going to need to disrupt Togawa at the rate they're going. All right, Polania. Make sure they're not DC'd. Polania is. Checking in to make sure Polania hasn't disconnected. Pinged him on the Discord. For those of you interested in tracking the tournaments or joining the community that does the tournaments, there's an invite link to the side Discord right there. For those of you interested in starting bidding games, if you saw the bidding app we used earlier, here's a quick look at it right now. That's what a completed bidding game looks like. Here is a link to the bidding app designed by Smugskull. All right, I think Polania finally selected their factory card. So they're going to take 2 coins for a mech and a power. Certainly alleviates the pressure on them to move to metal, which, you know, isn't bad considering the metal they mainly have access to is on a tunnel here and guarded by a trap token. Could always move to this spot, which Saxony still has access to, but it's a little better than being susceptible to disarm. But now they don't really have to worry about that. Even though they have a submerged mech, the mine's a solid choice here. It allows them to access much more of the board from this space, spread their workers much better once they get more of them there. Saxony in a position to really put a negative impact on Polania's game if they want to. A produce into a deploy for Saxony and grabbing the Riverwalk mech could mean that when Polania produces this next turn and moves to 3 wood, the Saxony could actually steal the wood. I don't know how much that helps Saxony though, because it costs Saxony 4 wood. Okay, we do see the mill on the Tundra. And I like that because it means the next produce that Tagawa does gives them the ability to upgrade their buildings again, meaning that this 1 wood is enough. Okay, so Crimea uses the turn in between their deploy to trade for 2 metal, which is solid, because it means that they can spend next turn one of their only 2 cards, deploy a second mech, moving between these 2 territories and grabbing their encounter. But look, it's round 8. Saxony is getting their 8th turn. So we know now that if Saxony had been so inclined, they could definitely have stolen Crimea's encounter. Albion's Mountain is fairly safe. Not easy to get enough workers there, though. Yeah, and once you get there, there's not a ton of room to spread out. I guess it's nice because it's hard to access these territories for the other players. So once you do spread out, you've got some pretty safe points up there. Let's see here. Saxony grabs the Riverwalk mech. The Polania's got to think now about whether they want to produce, but is that the right call? Is Saxony going to steal their wood if they do? Polania has to question their engine now. Lord of the event, Saxony is going to get last, no enlist. You know, Saxony Innovative sitting on 6 cards can definitely win a game, but the rate Tagawa is going, that bid may be insurmountable. Saxony in tier 1 probably tops out at about 60 coins with the innovative board, which subtract 21 out of that and you get 39. Tagawa in round 9's already at 23. So the window for a tier 1 Saxony to beat Tagawa here is seems to already be closing in round 9. So Polania electing to use the factory card and grab the Riverwalk mech while they're at it. Does Polania care if Sac steals the wood? Counterattack with an immediate build. Can you win that fight though? Do you want to win that fight? I mean, if you double move, you can win the fight. But then you've got to either bluff or spend all but one of your combat cards. Appreciate that, Wowbagger. Thanks a lot. Been a lot of fun to stream. Been a lot of fun to stream these tournament games. And we've got a bunch more, so hope you get a chance to watch more of them. All right, Polania grabbing an encounter that is in reach of Saxony with Riverwalk. Taking number 1 and probably number 3 so as to not leave resources on the ground. No. There are now resources on the ground that Saxony can steal. Polania looking really good. I really like Tagawa's game here so far. It's been really solid. We're almost certainly going to see, yeah, there's the upgrade up on build right now. See another building next turn. Crimea going to move and deploy their second mech here. Yeah, Day, I'm not sure what the reasoning of taking the metal was. I guess the thought is you don't have to pay the 2 coins on the factory card. You can produce some wood, produce some workers, and get your last mech all in one. Tagawa gets dusted in 3 to 4 rounds. Maybe. Sitting on 15 coins. That's the thing about a coin-rich strategy, is there are just so many points you can take away from somebody. This 3 popularity for Crimea here is an absolute game changer. Crimea can very reasonably look at tier 2 now. Somebody mentioned the possibility, I think it was Kaz earlier in the game, about Tagawa trapping this tunnel. If you've still got the combat card trap or the Mia going Wayfarer for their second mech. I'll be honest, I don't like it. I don't like giving up the center of the board with this type of a bid to make. Saxony grabbing the second factory card of the game. Moving a worker here, setting themselves up to... We may see a trade for 2 oil out of Saxony's next turn and an upgrade to their deploy so that they can deploy their last mech and get the worker star all at once. One thing a little bit awkward of how 1 factory card and 0 upgrades. Nice. First objective out of Saxony. One of the things I'm concerned about for Saxony is that by leaving all of their workers here instead of moving them out to the village tunnel, it's going to be a little bit harder for them to spread quickly. Polania not losing their metal to Saxony, getting the chance to deploy their last mech and get enough wood for a 3rd building. Look at this, guys. Tagawa winning outright right now. I mean, no stars. Not a lot of bottom row actions. Seeing 1, 2, 3, 4 upgrades. So 2 bottom row actions away from the upgrade star. 3 bottom row actions away from the enlist star. 3 bottom row actions away from the build star. So Tagawa and no... Woo! There it is! I mean, do you still do that when with Crimea going Wayfarer? Is it worth it? Maybe you just want the territory. Oh, that was you, Wowbagger? Sorry, I gave credit to the wrong person. But yeah, they do it, in fact. But Crimea not going with Riverwalk, so not really caring that much. So do we see the trade for 2 oil out of Saxony here in the upgrade to the probably move and the deploy? Saxony, by the way, grabbing a combat card for an upgrade and a power card. It's definitely a solid option for Saxony, but not absolutely amazing. You wonder what else is in there. Yeah, Lord of the Event. I think maybe Crimea was expecting Tagawa to block their tunnel. That's all I can figure. Sure enough, we do see the trade for 2 oil. Feeds another power to Crimea, who, despite having the militant board, is the highest powered faction in the game right now. Day says, looks like they're only bad factory cards. That could be. That could definitely be. So we're probably going to see a move out of Polania right now. Yeah. Going for the power enlist early instead of the deploy enlist. Paying off for Crimea. So if you're Crimea, where do you wayfare to? Go over to Rustviet's territory and hide from Saxony? Go over here to Albion's territory? Crimea's score about to double soon. I mean, Crimea is looking at needing... Tagawa's score doesn't move. Hey, Danky, what's going on, man? Tagawa's score doesn't move. Crimea is looking to have to put up 63. Definitely doable with militant. Alright, so... Polania moving out here. Let's see, $2 in popularity. I mean, do you throw down the coin? You've got 17. A little bit faster. No idea what Saxony is going to do with that bid. Hasn't made any money. Saxony's in trouble. I mean, I don't think there's any doubt about that. Saxony needed a faster game here, and they're not getting it. Saxony needed to go to 8 workers quicker than this, and needed to spread around the board quicker than this, and secure some stars off combats. And it just hasn't happened. Alright, Polania with the armory here. Taking advantage of that lake bonus up to 4 lakes, which gives them 6 points right now. Tagawa building a mine here. Gives them the opportunity to spread to these tunnels once they get a few more workers. Solid choice. Still... And I like how Tagawa has set themselves up. 2 more producers gives them the upgrade star. And it gives them the worker star. So here's Crimea. Turtling a little bit, spreading up to Albion's territory. And to Nordic's territory. Getting out scout. Look at this, guys. Tagawa sitting on 23 coin. That's right. Tagawa Engineering has more coin right now in round 11 than Crimea Militant. Played scared, I think. I haven't seen it go well for Crimea very often when they give up the center of the board. I mean, maybe he felt like he couldn't survive the trap token that was coming and had the foresight to know Tagawa was going to trap that Tundra. But that's rough. Saxony already with 3 stars and only make up 9 more points. They've got to get a lot of territory in this game and hold the factory to have a shot. Oh, and look, we got one Tagawa worker that's a darker shade than the rest. It happens with Nordic too. After they change the color of the workers, I don't know why it happens. Interesting, to me at least. All right, there comes enlist number 4 for Crimea. 21 coins out of that militant board. Ahead now, tier 2. And an objective. Crimea just needs 2 combats and their last mech to end. Can they clear it? They're 12 ahead. I didn't see the objective, Lord of the Event. Is it possible Saxony's ending right here in turn 12? I mean, it'd be a good call for them, right? I mean, third is about the most that Saxony can hope for at this point. I think it would secure them third. Right? No, maybe not. It'd be close. They do not win the second combat. No ending for Saxony. Would that have gotten them? They need to beat Polania by 7. I'm not sure that would have done it. Polania doing what it takes to protect their wood. To answer your question, Polania can move this turn. I mean, do you consider a factory move? Someplace like here where no one can reach you? Pick up that last popularity. Go to tier 2. It'd be worth 8 coins. Get out of reach of Crimea getting a cheap combat. You're going to have to stall Crimea here. Crimea with that 3 popularity encounter earlier, and being able to get tier 2 was huge for them. No chance now for Crimea to get a factory card in this game realistically. Means they can't really afford to initiate combats with workers on them if they want to hold tier 2. All right, Polania going to move. They can grab this encounter off a regular move and double up on this space, which may be what they're doing here. Interesting choice to leave 3 workers here. Suppose they're planning on producing into their last mech. They need 1 more mech. Taking the popularity here. And if I had to guess, they're 3rd in list. and taking power off the enlist bonus. Sitting at 2. I mean, if you're Polania right now, do you think about just attacking Saxony? I mean, could you have won last turn if you'd attacked Saxony twice? Or at least forced Saxony to throw one of the combats? Crimea's got to beat you by 16, and they're down by 1. Polania, by moving up here, has locked Crimea off from spreading much in this territory. They can spread here a little bit, but they can't move out of here. They now can't get a combat without losing tier 2. It's pretty grim for Crimea. I mean, you can't ever count out the militant board, but it's tough to see how they're going to do this. You do have Riverwalk. You can move this way and get out of Albion's territory by moving to this tunnel from either here or from here. We see out of Tagawa here, not a produce. Maybe a trade. Okay, it's going to be a move action. And trap number 4. Really like Tagawa's strategy in this game. Of course, they're down now to Polania by 11, with Polania arguably in the driver's seat vis-a-vis Tagawa. But how's Polania going to end? They need another building. They need another enlist. And a combat objective. Crimea attacking? Crimea giving up tier 2? Looks like they might be. Interesting. Crimea now way out of tier 2 with a 7 coin lead, but is that going to be enough? They do not have enough to cover their bid against Tagawa. Tagawa right now in the lead if Crimea ends it. Crimea might end it. It's hard to see it getting that much better for Crimea. But Crimea not ending it. Saxony using the factory card. Maybe bumping these workers. No, just electing to take more territory. Did they upgrade? Looks like the enlist. Polania now not on a lot of territory, but sitting on a decent amount of coin, decent amount of stars, and tier 2. But 13 down from Crimea, with Crimea only having to beat them by 16. So Polania not feeling great right now about where they are. They're ahead of Saxony. That's it. Right now, if you're Tagawa, you kind of wish you had Toka, right? Tokamek sitting right there. Attack Crimea and force him to throw a combat. That's a factory card use with no mech deploy out of Polania. Another metal encounter, mech encounter, neither of which they need, so we're going to see them pick option 1 and then just dismiss the card. A little bit surprised there not to see Polania take advantage of their factory card to spread some workers around. Oh, Tagawa getting their upgrade star and worker star. Guys, it's going to be hard. It is going to be hard for Polania or Crimea to cover their bid against Tagawa right now. Tagawa at 48 coins. Crimea giving up tier 2 has to get to 79. It just took Crimea too long to get out of the base. Crimea felt like they had to go with Wayfair. That mine, though, not doing Tagawa much good anymore. What does Saxony do here? They're 9 off of Crimea, so they have to get to 51 to feel good about beating Crimea. That's 10. They can get 6. They have a triple move here. They have a doable objective. They could reasonably play for second right now. But how do you pick up the additional territory? What do you need? You need, what did we say? You need 11. 11 gets you 3rd place. You beat Crimea, but no one else. 2 stars is 6. Say you bump these workers and attack Polania. It's 10. And then one more move because you have a triple move. It's 12. So Saxony has an objective they can do. They might end for 3rd right now. And that wouldn't be a bad decision on their part. Saxony sitting on 18 total points for the tournament. That might not be enough to advance. You don't want to take a 0 here. Taking a single point in 3rd place. Because it goes 6 points for 1st place, 3 points for 2nd place, 1 point for 3rd place, no points for 4th place. So you really don't want to take a 0 here. Polania loses 6-2. Yeah, if Polania loses, you would. Right? That's 2. Plus the 2 territories is 8. So that put Polania at 42. That puts Saxony at 9 ahead of Polania. That would be enough. Saxony may be doing the math here. That may be a that could be a 2nd place finish for Saxony. They can end here by bumping these workers and taking this territory. And then what do? You just move a worker over. Down here or over here and just pick up the last territory. Saxony taking a long time to decide what to do here makes me think they can in the game. So yeah, if you pull 52 as Saxony, take, what do we say? 8? 8 away from Polania. That puts you 9 ahead of Polania. You only need to beat them by 7. That puts you well behind Tagawa. But Crimea has to beat you by 9. So at 51 is also enough to beat Crimea. So that would be Tagawa, Saxony. Polania drops to 42 behind Crimea by 17. So it would be Tagawa, Saxony, Crimea, Polania, I think. Saxony bumps these workers, wins this combat, and turns in an objective. What objective could they turn in? Maybe they're trying to think about that. They have enough for diversify, right? Wood, village, tundra, farm, mountain. No trouble getting that. Ooh. Taking a real chance here, flipping this trap. If that had been coins, that's big trouble for Saxony. I'm not really sure why you do that. You can't catch Tagawa right now. You just can't. You can still do it though. And this moves to here. Saxony doing what we thought they might do. But taking what I thought was maybe an unnecessary risk here, flipping the Tagawa trap token. Not going to be close. They're not close to Tagawa. I think this is game, guys. I think this is a round 14 Tagawa win. And that's the thing. If you can stall a tournament game long enough in these preliminary rounds where finishing second versus third versus fourth matters, sometimes you can get somebody else to end the game for you. Polania thinking about whether to throw the book here. Probably doesn't matter. Saxony with those 3 combat cards, I would guess sitting on at least a 4. I think if you're Polania, you've got to assume. I mean, what did we say? Polania is going to get last here if Saxony turns in an objective. Do we see an objective here? No! It's Polania's turn. This is a gift for Polania. Attack the factory. You have your regular move. Spread and attack the factory. Saxony's either got to give it up to you or take last. You can pick up at least 3 territories. It's 9. You lose 1, so that's 6, 48. Saxony gets to 53. Not enough. And at 48, Crimea only beats you by 11, which is also not enough. I think Polania can end here. I think Polania can take the factory here. So you have a triple move here. No, you just have the double move. Do you have any combats? You have the 1 combat. So you can't end. But what you could do is you could attack Crimea right here. Crimea can't take another combat without ending the game. You can attack Saxony here. But you don't pick any territory up doing that. You lose a territory. So I don't think that works. A lot of workers to move up to an area where you can't really spread. $45 to $57. That's 12. 15. Polania beats. Polania takes second place here, unless Crimea throws this fight. I do believe. And Crimea takes third. Doesn't Crimea take second off of tiebreak? Crimea, if they throw the fight, lose a territory, so they go to 55, and they're up 5 on Saxony, which is not enough. If they, I'm sorry, they go to 60, that'd be 10 over Saxony. So they'd be ahead of Saxony. They'd only be 15 up on Polania, and they need 16, so I don't think it's a tie break. So they beat Saxony, they lose to Polania, they lose to Tagawa. So Crimea, if Crimea settles for, I think, third here, gives Tagawa the victory, and it gives Polania second place. You gotta love how strategic some of these game-ending moves are, because Crimea takes it. Crimea takes the combat. And that's game, guys. That is game. Now we're looking at the final score here. Let's do the math. We've got Crimea at 60. Take away 31. That gives them 29. Saxony, take away 22. That gives them 38. Tagawa winning. And Polania losing 15 gives them 30. I may have said 30 for the other two. So I think we've got Tagawa, Polania, Crimea, Saxony in that order. Certainly appreciate it, Wowbagger. All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in. That was a great game. 15 rounds. Went about an hour. And it was a lot of fun to watch. So I appreciate you guys watching. Streaming another game in about a little over 5.5 hours. So I hope you guys can tune back in then, and we'll catch you later.